Whether it's cars, comics, video games, or violins, there's a little geek in all of us. It's time to give your geek a voice. It's time for Geek Therapy. Here's your host, Johnny Hamburger.
Well, here we go. It's another week, another Geek Therapy. Another Geek Therapy Radio, and I am your host, Johnny Hamburger, your mental curator for this evening. And as I always say, anytime you're listening to this show, whether it's a podcast or on the radio or on the... I always say the YouTube. I've become a 90-year-old man. Or you're watching on YouTube. Whatever time of day you're joining me, thank you, and you're about to have some fun, because Geek Therapy Radio is a fun show where I geek out and dork out about all sorts of geeky topics. And this week, actually first, of course, I have to plug the social media, and I'm going to keep it abbreviated. Just look for Geek Therapy Radio, quote-unquote, Geek Therapy Radio, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Google. Just Google it. Just Google Geek Therapy Radio and you'll find me. But hit those social medias, like, follow, and subscribe. Thank you so much. So I wanted to start off this week talking about something it's a bit audacious to me. The audacity of this company, in that they sure are asking a lot of us, a lot of the consumer, a lot of the general public, and that's Amazon. That company is Amazon. Now, I don't personally have any ill will towards Amazon. I don't think it's a bad company. I don't think it's good or evil. And actually, I would probably wager that Amazon is, hope I don't eat my words on this, more good than evil. But the amount of trust they are asking us as the general public to have in them, a private company, is shady, is hairy, is a little bit suspect. In Terminator, that's a universe where a corporation, is it Skynet, has just basically dominion over the population. It's an all-seeing eye, all-listening ear to the population. I have always argued that we as a culture, and not just American culture, we as a world culture of consumers, in general, we fear and we do not want, and we would fight against a 1984 type dystopian future. We would fight against the idea of the government listening into us, of corporations listening into us against our will. And there's the key of what I just said, against our will. What we're doing and what Amazon is tapping into is the fact, and this is something that I realized years ago, while we might fight against the all-seeing eye, all-listening ear of government or corporation, while we'll fight against it intruding in our lives, we have no problem purchasing it. Case in point, Google Home, Amazon's Alexa, Siri. That stuff is listening all the time. That technology is the all-seeing eye, is the all-listening ear. But it's okay. We're okay with it because we bought it. They asked politely. Alexa knocked on the door. Amazon's Alexa knocked on the door and said, Can I come in? I swear I'll make your life easier. And you won't even have to go to your computer to order stuff or play songs off your playlist. And we said, sure, Alexa, you're pretty hot. Come in. So, is Alexa just the pretty girl next door that we invite into our house? Legal age. That could have gone down a very dark road. But anyways, is Alexa the innocent girl next door we invite into our homes, or is she evil? Is she the evil girl next door we invite home and is going to tear our home apart and rip our lives upside down, tip our lives upside down, and just ruin us? So I'm just talking about Amazon's Alexa right there. I'm just talking about Siri right there. I'm just talking about Google Home. Google's not innocent of this. That it goes to say what I was saying earlier. Like, does Amazon and Google and Apple have evil ulterior motives into intruding in your life so much? I honestly don't think so. And I know there are a lot of conspiracy theorists out there right now probably yelling at their speakers, of course they do. Of course corporations are evil. They want to run your life. No, I argue that it's more simple than that, more innocent than that. Here's the real reason why Apple and Amazon and Google want to become a part of every waking moment of your life. It's not for thought control or brain control or to dictate how you live your life. That's not what they're after. What they are after is, I don't have any in my pocket because I work in radio, but they're after money. They're after your hard-earned dollars. Amazon and Google and Apple and other companies trying to intrude into your life, not intrude, because again, we are opening the door to them. We are giving them money and saying, here, come in. You buy one of those Amazon Echo Dots for $50, you're paying Amazon to come into your home and listen to everything you're saying. We're paying for that. So the reason why they want to come into your home and do this isn't to run your life like some sort of evil Terminator type Skynet evil corporation kill all humans type thing. It's just to sell you stuff easier. Why would you want to go to Walmart if you could just sit in your freaking underpants on the couch and say, Alexa, order me 10 more rolls of toilet paper? Easy. It's just to take your money easier. It's just to listen to what you're purchasing and listen to your buying habits and listening to your listen habits and your YouTube viewing habits and take all sorts of data on you so that they can advertise things to you to get more of your money. It's not to enslave all humans. It's not robots, enslave all humans, eradicate all humans. It's not that. It's learn what humans want to buy so that they will give us money. That's all it is. And really what it boils down to is you, the consumer, saying yes or no to giving your money to Amazon, giving your money to Google, giving your money to Apple. That is all it boils down to. There's no evil alternative. And in the last couple seconds of this segment, couple minutes of this segment, I'm gonna go a little deeper now. I'm gonna use my soapbox to squash this idea that the government is coming to get us. And I'm gonna go to an extreme end, and I'm gonna use the Second Amendment and gun rights and stuff like that. I'm getting a little bit minorly political here on Geek Therapy Radio, but bear with me because you may or may not agree with the point I'm about to make, and it doesn't matter if you agree or not because the overwhelming force I'm about to describe doesn't matter. It won't. Your agreeing, your opinion doesn't matter on it because of what I'm about to tell you. Let's say, and first of all, I'm all for the Second Amendment. I'm all for the right to bear arms. I'm all for safely and ethically owning firearms. All for it. And I'm all for somebody, a private citizen, owning as many firearms as they want. If they're a geek about guns, which I won't get too much into geeking out about guns because I am not personally a geek about guns. Guns don't intrigue me that much. But let's say someone really appreciates firearms. They appreciate the craftsmanship, and believe me, there is I can't talk. There is craftsmanship in a firearm, absolutely. So if you want to collect 200,000 guns, if you want to plop an Abrams tank on your front lawn, just do it because you like collecting those things. Just do it because you're a responsible owner of firearms and weaponry. The idea that you're collecting an arsenal to protect yourself from the government, as is originally stated in the Constitution, is protect yourself from governments. That doesn't work in 2017. So let's say you have amassed 500,000 guns, 2 million rounds, and you have 2 Abrams tanks with turrets and loaded to the gills sitting on your front lawn. If you are able to do so, if you're legally able to do so and financially set enough to afford all that kind of stuff, if you're doing that thinking you're going to defend yourself from the government, let me tell you what's actually going to happen in that scenario. Before you can even reach for your can of Bud Light, or your beer, or your water, or your wine, or your daiquiri, before you can even reach for your drink, some 22-year-old kid under a mountain drinking a Mountain Dew is going to press a button and you will be vaporized. Your personal arsenal of weaponry is going to be vaporized by some pimple-faced kid buried under a mountain in Colorado, looking at a computer monitor. If the government wanted you gone, they will not send troops to your doorstep. You will see Jesus before you see your can of beer. That's what would happen. So don't collect this arsenal of weapons thinking in any way, shape, or form you're going to defend yourself from the government should the government come after you. You will be turned into a pink vapor. Not even pink. Just you will atomize. Like, again, you will see Jesus before you see your can of beer. That's what would happen if the government wants to come after you. So collect your weapons because you're a geek about the weapons, because you're a responsible gun owner. Absolutely. Collect all the stuff you want, all the weapons you want, because you're a geek about it. That's good. Thumbs up. Go for it. Buy all you can. Get all you can. Defend yourself. There's a difference between reasonably defending yourself from a home intruder. That's irrational. That's rational. That's sane. The idea that you're going to defend yourself from your government is bonkers. Not only will they vaporize you, your neighbor's house will be unscathed. One little piece of your ash might fall on their roof. That's it. But their house is going to be unscathed. Most of your house will be unscathed. Just going to be a little hole in your roof, and then you're just going to go poof in your lazy boy if the government wanted you gone, believe me. No amount of machine guns you own, no amount of artillery you own is going to defend you from the government. So, buy your stuff because you like the stuff, because you geek out about the stuff. That's why you buy the stuff. That's why you do anything. Anyways, more Geek Therapy Radio to come. I'm Johnny Hemberger. Send your hate mail to geektherapy@iheartmedia.com. Go tell me what you think on my Facebook page about what I just said, because if I ruffled feathers, which I hope I didn't, and if your feathers are ruffled by that, by an argument that I perceive to be pretty rational. I mean, again, if you think you're going to defend yourself from your government, from the might of the U.S. military with your little pea shooters, ain't happening. Buy your guns because you like them. But let me know what you think. Geek Therapy Radio on Facebook. Geek Therapy Radio on YouTube, and follow Geek Therapy Radio on Instagram. I put a cool video up on my Geek Therapy Radio Instagram I got real close to an airplane flying over my head, to an airliner. It was really neat. More Geek Therapy Radio to come in just a couple minutes, but if you're listening to the podcast, I'm going to come back right now. Johnny Hemberger, Geek Therapy Radio. Stick around. Yeah. Welcome back to Geek Therapy Radio. I look over my shoulder, I'm all scared. I got my timer here on my cellular telephone, my segment timer, because I'm a talker and I can go over. When I first started the show, I was so worried. Like, how am I going to fill 45 minutes or 44 minutes or whatever of content? How am I going to talk that long? Now my problem is keeping it under 50 minutes. My boss sent me a sheet. Said, you've got 43 or whatever, 44 minutes to work with. That's all you got in an hour. Okay. So now I struggle to keep it under 50. Anyways, I'm Johnny Hemberger. Welcome back to Geek Therapy Radio. I'm going to briefly continue the train I started pushing down the tracks in the last segment of of policy, not necessarily politics, but some policy that affects geeks in some way. Not even just geeks. This even spills out into even more broad consumerism. We consumers. And okay, I'm just going to get to it. First things first, vaping in more and more cities is becoming illegal. Well, it's not illegal technically. It's just being banned. Any place that smoking is banned, vaping is banned. So, in restaurants, for instance, public, gathering places indoors, if you can't smoke cigarettes in there, you also can't vape, which I agree with 150,000 million bajillion %. I have a vape that I suckle upon occasionally. I'm not proud of it. And like I said before, I seriously doubt I'm going to take on any vape shops as sponsors because as far as I'm concerned, the jury is still out. Vaping hasn't been around for a long enough time to collect a reliable amount of data as to how good or bad it is for you. Let me restate that. It is definitely bad for you. There's no way inhaling anything other than natural atmosphere into your lungs is good for you. Is vaping as bad for your cigarettes? Probably not. Probably not even in the same universe of degradation to your health. But the only way we're going to be able to tell that is if someone, let's say someone's been vaping for 20 years and they die, let's remove their lung, see what a vaping lung looks like next to a smoker's lung. And then how do you equivalate? How do you quantify how much vaping equals the same amount of smoking? Volume breathing in, length of time spent vaping or smoking? I don't know. All I'm saying is the jury's out as far as a reliable set of data, of information to dictate whether or not vaping is good for you or not. Again, it's not good for you. There's no way it's good for you. Technically, just being alive isn't good for you. I mean, we're all gonna die. So, being alive isn't good for you. Oxygen causes rust. We breathe in oxygen all the time. That's why our skin cells are red. It's because of oxygen and iron mixing. Whatever. Iron carries the oxygen around our bloodstream to the organs that need it. Now you know what iron's for in your blood. So iron deficiencies that's what happens. I would imagine an iron deficiency makes you very lethargic, might make you sore. I'm not a doctor. I'm just I'm extrapolating from my brain. I'm deducing what iron deficiency could cause. And it probably makes you tired. If you're not getting if you don't have enough iron in your blood to transfer oxygen around your body into your brain and such, then you're probably going to feel pretty lethargic. I didn't look that up. I'm just guessing, but I'm assuming that that's in the ballpark of correctness. And there I went geeking out for a couple minutes on iron deficiency. So back to what I started out this segment with. Policy that affects us geeks, but not only us geeks, but us kind of broad civilians and consumers. There's an interesting case that has been brought up, and that is, oh my goodness, I forgot the agency that brought it up. Let me look it up here real quick. Basically, what it is Prager U is suing YouTube. Prager U provides content for YouTube, conservative content on YouTube, politically conservative. So Prager U sues YouTube, saying it censors their conservative video. And Prager U is arguing that this is an affront to their right of free speech. It infringes upon their First Amendment right of free speech. Now, I'm going to be an awesome radio show host, a diligent radio show host, and read for you all what the First Amendment actually says. And then I'll give you my opinion on how it pertains to this particular case. Okay. The Constitution of the United States of America, 1789. Amendment 1, aka the First Amendment, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press, or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Basically, what's that saying is the government cannot infringe upon your freedom of speech. We all know this. All you hear on TV and radio is Trump this, Trump that, Obama this, Obama that, Pelosi this, Pelosi that. We are free, and God bless us for being free to be able to rake our leaders. Leader is not a very good term to use there. Our elected officials. We are the ones who are supposed to be leading our elected officials. That's why we elect them. Anyways, God bless us for living in a country where we can rake our elected officials all the way up to the president, the commander-in-chief. We can rake them over the coals with zero fear of being punished for it. Zero fear of going to jail for it. Zero fear of being executed for it. You can be gay in this country and not be executed by the government. You can be Muslim in this country and not be executed by your government for it in this country. I'm not going to open that can of worms. Anyways, in the United States of America, U.S. citizens have freedom of speech from the government. The government cannot infringe upon our freedom of speech. So, back to Prager, who makes conservative videos and is suing YouTube for infringing on its freedom of speech, saying that YouTube censors their conservative videos. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you why this is a non-case. It might get drawn out in some way because there's a lot of money being thrown around, but really it's not a case because guess what? Effectively, YouTube is a private citizen. YouTube is a private entity with all the rights granted to it that one citizen would have. That's one reason why there's such a rub in this country about how much freedom does a corporation have. And really right now as it stands, I believe, is a corporation is essentially one citizen. It has the rights and advantages and freedoms of that any citizen does. So anyways, legally speaking, YouTube can shut down PragerU. YouTube can say, okay, you just can't upload any more videos ever, because they have the private right as a private citizen to tell an uploader, to tell one of their community members, no, we're not going to let you say that on our platform. We reserve the right to, yes, censor what we do allow our platform to be used for. In the same way, YouTube is not going to allow someone to post horrific videos, post videos of them murdering somebody, or post outright blatant hate speech. YouTube reserves that right to ban such material from its servers. In the exact same way that you reserve the right to ban your neighbor from coming into your house and giving your wife the middle finger. You are a private citizen. You are able to censor what goes in and out of your private property. You are able to censor what people do in your home. That's your private right. So that's what YouTube is doing. Do I agree morally that YouTube should censor material? Yes and no. I do think that PragerU has every right to load their conservative ideas to YouTube, and that's great that they do. We need two sides. In arguments in this country, we need two sides. Both sides need to be heard in a respectable way. Of course, absolutely. They have every right to do that. So if YouTube is being a jerk and censoring, conservative videos from raising in the ranks as opposed to more liberally biased videos, boo on YouTube. I disagree with that. Everyone should have equal platform to say what they want respectably on YouTube. On the same note, I fully agree with YouTube that they have every right as a private entity to censor what does and does not go on their site. So that's basically it. Do I agree with YouTube for censoring things? No. Do I support their right to do it? Sure. That doesn't mean that I agree with censorship or that I like censorship. But YouTube is its own private person, effectively. They can censor whatever they want. They have the legal right to do that. People throw around this idea. They'll yell at other citizens, "You are infringing upon my right to free speech." No. Free speech, the First Amendment just grants you freedom from the government infringing on your free speech, not a private person. If you went up to a private citizen and said something that other citizen didn't like, you, within all legal ramifications, deserve to have the repercussions. If you go into your job saying the N-word, spouting off the N-word, and you get fired for it, you cannot say that your business infringed upon your right to free speech, because your business, your job, your boss has every right to fire you for being a racist idiot. Every right. Just like you have every right, if you're a white person, you have every right to kick a black person out of your home if you want, because it's your private home. That makes you an idiot. And can I say this on the radio? That makes you a dick. You know, this show airs after the watershed, so I think I can say that. That makes you a bad person. That makes you a rotten, horrible person to your core. But you do have the right to kick whoever you want out of your own house. You do not have the right. Well, actually, you do have the right to go into your place of work saying the N-word, and your employer has every right, and rightfully so, and ethically so, to kick your butt to the curb for being a racist douchebag. The government cannot censor that speech. The government cannot keep you from being a racist douchebag. But the rest of free society, the rest of the civilized world, can chastise you and make sure you never work again because of your views, your very outspoken views. So that's what I want to say on that. Was that geek therapy? Kind of. It felt good to get that off my chest. So next time you hear someone arguing to another citizen or in a picket line or something, "You're infringing upon my free speech." No, you're not. A private citizen cannot infringe upon another private citizen's right to free speech. Only the government can infringe on free speech. You are only protected from the government censoring what you say. That's it. More Geek Therapy Radio to come. We're going to get to some actual geek topics coming up. For one thing, you can use your GameCube controllers now with the Switch. Nintendo Switch. The Super Mario Odyssey came out this week for the Nintendo Switch, and I'm super stoked about that. The supersonic car makes its first public test. This car is trying to reach 1,000 miles per hour, so we're going to talk about that. So more actual geeky stuff. Gravitational waves, am I talking about that? More geeky stuff coming up. I just need to get those few things off my chest this week. Take a deep breath. It feels good. I'm Johnny Hamburger. We'll be right back with more Geek Therapy Radio. Don't go anywhere. Stick around while we're in this break, even if it's a quick break, while you're listening on the podcast or on YouTube. Geek Therapy Radio on Facebook. Geek Therapy Radio on Instagram. Like I said, Geek Therapy Radio on YouTube. If you're already watching on YouTube right now, then just click that subscribe button. We'll be right back. Johnny Hamburger. More Geek Therapy Radio. Right after this.
Doing it right, everybody will be dancing and we're feeling it right. Everybody will be dancing and be doing it right. Everybody will be dancing and we're feeling alright. Everybody will be dancing tonight.
Welcome back to Geek Therapy Radio. I am Johnny Hamburger, your mental curator for this day. this day that you're listening to Geek Therapy Radio, because if you're listening on the podcast, it might not be at the exact moment that it's airing on KPRC 950 in Houston. My show usually airs at 12:06 a.m. Sunday morning on KPRC 950 a.m. in Houston. the past month or so, it's kind of jumped around a little bit. I was on at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. last Sunday, which was great. I saw some increased traffic on my Facebook page and my podcast and whatnot. Actually, it's the most that I've gotten ever to date for a single episode. So thank you for that very much. I hope I'm grabbing more geeks on to join me here on our geeky quest in this life across our universe. Let's rejoice in our geekiness. Let's have our geek therapy right here on the radio with me, Johnny Hemberger, your mental curator and your main squeeze freak of geek. I almost totally forgot to tell everybody that I finally caved in and bought a new drone. I ordered it. I don't have it yet, but I'm super stoked about it. I've gone at least a year and a half flightless. I've been grounded for at least the last year and a half. Not, my mom didn't ground me. What I mean is flight, airplanes, grounded. Okay. Anyways, I just bought off Amazon, which I just talked about in the first segment. I just bought a DJI Mavic Pro. Refurbished. I ordered a refurbished unit because, for two reasons. One, I'm thinking a refurbished unit is probably going to have any of the kinks worked out of it that a new unit might have. So what a refurbished unit is somebody sending their Mavic back to DJI to have serviced. So they work out the known issues with it. So basically what you're getting is a brand new DJI Mavic. It still comes with the exact same warranty, all the exact same stuff. It's just been professionally worked over by DJI. So that means any issue that it did have has been corrected. So my theory is that a refurbished DJI Mavic is probably going to be better than a brand new one. And in my experience, having purchased refurbished products in the past, I'm not just saying drones. I haven't bought any refurbished drones or anything, but I bought refurbished laptops, for instance. You know, I've gone to Micro Center or whatever and got refurbished laptops. Like I said, my Surface 2, my Microsoft Surface 2 is refurbished because brand new, what were they, like $1,000 or whatever? I got it for like $400, maybe less than that, $300. But it was, you know, a generation or two old and it was refurbished. So I got a really good price on it and it's fantastic. I've bought laptops in the past and computers in the past, refurbished, that have been absolutely flawless. So not only in my mind, am I thinking buying something refurbished means that it's had all the works worked out of it for sure, all the flaws worked out of it for sure. It also saves a lot of money. The DJI Mavic Pro, just the baseline set that comes with one battery and the remote and everything, was $1,000. The DJI Mavic Pro refurbished by DJI itself is $800, $799, free shipping. So $200 off, and it's probably going to be better than a new DJI Mavic Pro. So I'm super stoked about that. I'm going to make so many good videos about the DeLorean using the Mavic. So if you're listening, this is Geek Therapy Radio. Go find Geek Therapy Radio on YouTube and subscribe. Please subscribe so that you can see all those cool uploads I make. Each one of these shows is uploaded to YouTube, so you can see the neat things I have. Here's a model of a DeLorean, which you can see if you go to YouTube. It's a model of my DeLorean. Anyway, so yeah, go to YouTube and check out all the new awesome videos I'm going to make with my DJI Mavic Pro. This is not a paid endorsement for DJI Mavic, or for DJI. I paid my own freaking money for it. Begs the question, what am I going to do with my old DJI Phantom 3? The camera doesn't work. The body of the drone works fine. The remote is all perfect. You can fly it around to your heart's content. You just can't record video with it. So I'm probably going to sell the body of it because someone else can. They'll buy the used Phantom 3 and then they'll buy a used camera off eBay, and they got a really awesome drone for a really a high value proposition. They're not going to spend a whole lot of money on it, and effectively they're going to have an awesome drone. So, anyways, what the heck else was I going to talk about this? I mean, I totally forgot. Oh yeah, the FCC the FCC eliminated the decades-old rule that required TV and radio stations to maintain studios within the local communities. Ruh-roh. That's a big ruh-roh for me. What that new law says is that, for instance, iHeartMedia here in Houston, who I work for, it means technically KPRC, which you're listening to the show on, if you're listening on the radio, it means KPRC. It means we don't have to have a station in the building. It means you can listen to content on KPRC, but really the computer that's playing it is in San Antonio or Hawaii or Portland or wherever. It means that you no longer need radio stations, no longer need to maintain studios in the communities they serve. So our sister station, KTRH, which, peel back the curtain a little bit, is where I record most of these Geek Therapy radios since I work at KTRH overnight. It means that legally, KTRH doesn't have to originate in Houston. It means that legally, iHeartMedia can come in here and shut down these Houston studios in the Galleria and fire all of us and just say, we're just going to use ABC News out of New York City or Los Angeles. So I don't just disagree with this new ruling because it threatens my job. I disagree with it because, as it stood for decades, yes, local radio and TV stations should have a studio in the communities they serve to serve those communities, so that a TV station like KTRK can send out a truck from their local studios. Where are their studios now? Are they still in Bel Air? Is KTRK still in Bel Air? Okay, we all know where Channel 13, Fox is. KRIV, is that their call letters? On 59? Down past the Lakewood Church, or the old Compact Center, the old, where the Rockets used to play, the old Summit. We know where Channel 13 is, or Fox is. It means that Fox, the parent company, doesn't have to have the studios here. So the next time a Harvey happens, you don't have local TV personalities out covering local news. So that makes me a little bit weary. I'm a little, hopefully Geek Therapy Radio can survive this new rule. So again, for me, ruh-roh, I don't think that, in all seriousness, I don't think that I am in much danger, and I don't think iHeartMedia Houston studios are in much danger, because this is a huge market. It's a size 6 market, I believe. That means there's only 5 markets bigger than us. Los Angeles, New York City, Chicago, I'm sure. It means that Houston is number 6. We have we cover most square miles and the most population. Number 6 out of hundreds. So we are a big juggernaut. KTRH, for instance, is a 50,000 watt flamethrower of a signal. So I don't think that Houston radio stations are much danger of this. But some little podunk, radio station outside of Topeka, Kansas, for instance, you may want to freshen up that resume. I'm Johnny Hamburger. I can't even talk. I'm Johnny Hamburger. We'll be right back with more Geek Therapy Radio. I'm going to talk about actual nerd stuff, video games, rocket cars, all that kind of stuff in the last segment here. So stick around. More Geek Therapy Radio to come. We're going to wrap it up after the next segment. I'm Johnny Hamburger. We'll be right back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Geek Therapy Radio. I am your mental curator, Johnny Hamburger, and this is going to be kind of a short segment. So let's start off with one brief geek out about astrophysics. So basically, we've been able to detect gravitational waves. You may have heard me talking on this show about us detecting gravitational waves in a few experiments that we've done. So when black holes, or in this case, neutron stars collide, or they rotate around each other very fast, they're throwing off gravitational waves through the universe that we are able to detect here on Earth using lasers and instruments very far apart. We can detect the ripple. Just like you drop a pebble in a pond, the ripples go out through space, the gravitational ripples, and we can detect that. The fact that we've been able to detect gravitational waves now basically kills previous theories of gravity itself. And I'm not an astrophysicist, so I'm going to put it basically. I'm going to tell you basically what this means and why it kind of goes in the face of previous theories of what gravity is. Essentially, what's happening is dark matter. It's well known that we have been trying to calculate. When we try to calculate the mass of the universe, we come up short. With all the objects we see, the suns and the stars that we see, the planets that we see, the asteroids that we see, the gas that we see out there, or the molecules, when we add it all up, there's not enough mass there to make the theories work, to make the calculations work. You have to add, there has to be other mass somewhere that we can't see that makes up the total mass of the universe. And that mass we've been calling dark matter. Basically, space and time can only be held together if the mass works out. And what we observe with our eyes and instruments can't detect enough mass. So we say there's dark matter out there that we can't see or detect that has mass that makes up for the rest of the mass of the universe. What gravitational waves have pointed out, what they've done, is shown that our idea of dark matter, it can't deal with how fast gravitational waves move through the universe. In other words, if we've calculated the speed of sound to move through water at a set speed, accounting for temperature and whatnot, we know that in water that is 30 degrees Celsius, the speed of sound should emanate from one spot at a certain frequency and wind up at another spot at this exact moment, at this exact frequency, we know. So what we're seeing is that we are noticing the origin of the gravitational waves way out in space, but the waves are getting to us not by our initial calculations, not by how fast we thought they could previously move through dark matter, through the mass of the universe. So back to the drawing boards on certain theories of gravity. I think that's really interesting. And again, I'm not an astrophysicist, so I can't myself, as much as I want to geek out about this and it keeps me up at night, I can't wrap my brains around the math. But maybe one of you geeks out there can, and maybe you can go on my Facebook page, Geek Therapy Radio on Facebook, and show us a diagram of what this theory means and why gravitational waves throws those theories out. Anyways, maybe I'll have Neil deGrasse Tyson on my show. That'd be sweet. Let me send him an email. Cross your fingers. Don't hold your breath. In gamer news, gamers out there, gamer geeks, I like to game, even though I haven't been playing many other games recently other than Rocket League, which I've discussed probably ad nauseum on my show. And I don't have a Nintendo Switch yet. I want a Nintendo Switch. That's probably going to be my next major purchase, is a Nintendo Switch. Unless one of you out there wants to give me one. Unless one of you out there has a video game shop and you want to sponsor my show and let me have one to review. That'd be great with me also. But the Nintendo Switch... not only is Super Mario Odyssey coming out, it's come out this week, and it's come out to awesome reviews, and it looks awesome, and I want to get a Switch, not only because Rocket League is coming to Switch, but because Super Mario Odyssey is coming to Switch, and it looks amazing, and it probably is going to be amazing. The other thing that's going on with the Switch is the most recent firmware update allows use of GameCube controllers. Through a USB hub, you can connect up to 4 GameCube controllers to your Nintendo Switch. Now, you might be thinking, oh, well, okay, neat. Very cool. What does that matter? That means a new Smash Brothers is coming out. That means a new Smash Brothers game is coming out for the Switch. Definitely. If they are allowing you to hook all the previous iteration Nintendo hardware, the Wii, the Wii U, And now the Switch are allowing you to hook up GameCube controllers. The only reason Nintendo wants you to hook up GameCube controllers, which is a system that came out in 2001, 2002, 2003, early 2000s. It's 15 years old now. The only reason why Nintendo wants you to hook up 15-year-old hardware, 15-year-old controllers to a new device is for Smash Brothers. That's the only game because it's an insanely popular game. It's a cash cow for Nintendo. So you can hook up GameCube controllers to your Nintendo Switch. And I'm running out of time here, but the Bloodhound Supersonic car starts doing its first public tests in its quest to hit 1,000 miles an hour. So in its initial tests, this jet-powered car went up to just above 200 on basically normal tires. They're not normal tires; they're aircraft tires. But anyways, when it finally makes its 1,000 mile per hour run in the year 2020, I believe they're trying to do it. It's going to have solid metal wheels, solid aluminum wheels, I believe. But that's a car that's trying to hit 1,000 miles an hour on land. It's not an aircraft going 1,000. That's been done. We do that all the time. A car with 4 wheels going 1,000 miles an hour. Again, cross your fingers. Hope for the best. Do I want to be in that seat going 1,000 miles an hour? No. No, thank you. And the other thing is, the car can't use a jet engine for that. It's going to have to use a specially designed rocket engine. With that super awesome geek topic out of the way, that's it for Geek Therapy Radio this week. Thank you for listening, my geeks. I love you all. Please love yourself. Please spend even just 10 minutes this week on your geek thing. 10 minutes this week on your hobby. 10 minutes this week on your interest. If you used to like Legos as a kid, and now you're a grown-ass man and a strong, independent woman, go after work today and buy Legos and play with Legos. It's going to do so much for your spirit and your soul and your happiness and your psyche. Just indulge in your geek thing. Bust out that old dusty Nintendo and play some Mario. Absolutely do that. I love you, geeks. Thank you for listening to my show. I really do appreciate it. All the social media, Geek Therapy Radio on Facebook, Geek Therapy Radio on Instagram, and Geek Therapy Radio on YouTube. Go watch and subscribe. I'm Johnny Hemberger. See you next week for more GTR, Geek Therapy Radio. I love you all. Peace out, my geeks. Oh yeah, and geeks are sexy, right?